later on as well. What's this place where the nasal bones and the frontals come together?
Nasion?
Yeah, the nasion, that's correct. What is this opening, which you can see in the adult as well? It begins with a P. PI. PIR. PIRI. That's right, the piriform aperture, which means pear-shaped.
What's that? Where is it?
It's this opening.
Oh, okay.
Now, one of the characteristics of mammals is that there's no bony separation between the nostrils. There's only soft tissue separation. So if the soft tissue is gone, then you see only one opening over here. By convergent evolution, turtles have developed only a single opening as well, but it's not shaped the same way. A turtle skull, you don't worry about ever getting a turtle skull confused with any mammalian skull. But by convergent evolution, they also develop only one aperture, only separated by soft tissue. Okay, but it's not piriform, it's not pear-shaped. What's the difference found over here? Well, that's here. Well, that's a difference found over here, but what about right over? That's a difference found over there. What's the difference found over here? Well, since there's no maxillary air sinus, which develops as the bone grows, the floor of the eye socket and the hard palate move away from one another. Now, the separation is mostly in air. But that hasn't started to form yet at this stage. It only develops after birth. So the distance between where the hard palate is and where the floor of the orbit is very small. So this is the kind of proportional relationship that you see pre-partum, you know. After birth, the maxillary air sinus starts to appear. So the existence of a maxillary air sinus in what could be either a late-term fetus or maybe a baby discarded in a dumpster. You know, this turns up occasionally. The medico-legal evidence for the fact that it was a baby who had been born is that there's a maxillary air sinus. No maxillary air sinus means not born. Okay. People do that, you know, people do that sort of thing occasionally.
So it occurs right after birth?
Yeah, it starts to develop after birth, so there's no maxillary air sinus before birth. So if there's no maxillary air sinus, it's a late-term fetus, you know, for a very, very late-term.
So where are the air sinuses on here?
Well, the air sinus, now look at this. Of course, I can take out, later we'll take out the actual, the adult skull. Look at this. Look at the separation between here and here and this, and compare that to that. Look at the separation between the floor of the orbit and the hard palate. Now, keep in mind that the hard palate is there, but you still get this much separation. My index finger is touching the hard palate, and my thumb is touching the floor of the eye socket. So without the alveolar process, you still have that much separation. But look at how much separation you see there. Then that's right. So what's the adaptive value of pumping the bone up with air instead of having solid bone in there? It's lighter. It takes less energy to carry it around. What's the downside?
Breaks.
Well, actually, engineering studies have shown that most of the stresses, torsion and compression stresses, move through the sides of the bone, you know, rather than the center. So any torsion forces mostly involves the sides rather than the center. So the disadvantage is that these all open. This is a paranasal sinus that develops after birth. It opens into the nasal cavity. So infection can move in. Now that looks like it would drain easily, but this is not the relationship that you have in life. This is mostly closed up by other bones that articulate here. So the actual opening is very small. So if an infection moves in there, it's hard to get it out, you get rid of it. Especially since you're talking about in air where it's hard for the white blood cells to go. Okay. So that's why sinusitis can become chronic, you know, it may just keep going on for years or decades. Okay. Then the alveolar process is here, but even without the alveolar process, the height of the maxilla is much greater. Now I've got a skull from an edentulous individual. What does edentulous mean?
No teeth?
That's right, without teeth. And if after all the teeth are lost, if nothing has been done to keep stimulating the alveolar process, it will be reabsorbed. So that produces that collapse of the mouth area. Dental implants would work against that because the socket's implanted in the bone, then put stress on the bone, when you're chewing and so on. So the body, it's either use it or lose it. So if you're using it, then it'll be retained, but if it's not associated with teeth anymore, it'll be reabsorbed. Okay. And what's the difference found over here? Yeah, there's an actual symphysis menti. So the mandible starts out, it's composed of two bones, which means an actual joint over here. There's an actual symphysis menti, and it's more obvious from the rear. If you look at the back side of the mandible, looking at the back side, you see the joint there?
Mm-hmm.
Later on, it's still called the symphysis menti, but only by courtesy, because there's really no articulation there in way over 99% of the people. But if you have